We're back with Republican presidential candidate Mitt Romney. Governor, thanks once again. I want to get to some national security issues. How far would you go to stop Iran from building a nuclear bomb?
Well, Iran has to be convinced that we would go all the way, that we would take military action, that military action is on the table. I think our president has communicated in various subtle ways that there is not a military option that we would consider. I think that's a mistake. I think you have to have crippling sanctions against Iran. I think you have to have covert action in Iran to convince the people there of the folly of becoming a nuclear nation. But I think the Iranians have to believe as well that, and particularly their leadership, believe that America would consider taking military option. That has to be on the table, and plans have to be in place, and that's something which clearly you have to consider. We cannot endure a world where Iran has a bomb, because then, of course, the Saudis will, and Turkey will, and you go around the world, the Syrians will. I mean, you'll have all sorts of people with nuclear weapons, and ultimately fissile material will find its way into the hands of terrorists, and the consequence for the world and for America is unthinkable.
If you were president and you had to deal with the United Nations General Assembly vote in the coming days that would call for the creation of a Palestinian state, what would you do about that?
Well, you start a long time ago. This vote and the course being pursued by the Palestinians and by others in the United Nations is another testament to the president's failure of leadership. This would have been avoided, or could have been avoided, in my view, had the president made it clear from the very outset that we stand by Israel, that we lock arm and arm. Instead, the president tried to communicate to the Palestinians and to others that support their effort that, well, there may be some distance between us and Israel. Look, you stand by your allies. You show that you're united. That's the best way to keep people from taking adventurous activity.
I want you to explain something you said yesterday. It's got a little buzz out there. I'll play the clip and then we'll discuss. Unfortunately, we don't have it, but it was basically a comment praising the former Vice President Dick Cheney. You were saying something along the lines, I listened to him speak and said, whether you agree or disagree with him, this is a man of wisdom and judgment, and he could have been president of the United States. That's the kind of person I'd like to have, a person of wisdom and judgment. That's causing a little controversy. What did you mean by that?
I think that's pretty straightforward. I listened to the vice president speak the other day, and his thoughtfulness and his deliberation and his intelligence shone through. I remember watching the debates, the vice presidential debates, and between Joe Lieberman and the vice president Dick Cheney, and I thought both of those men were men of substance and thoughtfulness and experience. Dick Cheney served in the Department of Defense. He served with prior presidents. I know he's criticized by many people, but you do want in the vice presidency an individual who has the confidence of the American people that person could be president, and I think Dick Cheney was certainly a man of that character. We
got a question from on Facebook from Joshua Wertheim. He asked this: if you got the nomination, would you distance yourself from the Tea Party so you could appeal to moderates and independents? If not, how would you ever expect to win the general election?
You know, what I intend to do is what I have been doing, which is continue to talk about my vision for America. And I know a lot of Tea Partiers who believe government's too big and is borrowing too much. They agree with me. And I know a lot of mainstream Republicans agree with me. I also think a lot of independents and Democrats agree with me. There's almost not a day that goes by that I don't have Democrats come up to me and say, you know what, I'm a Democrat, but I'm going to vote for you. I was on a flight this morning, a Southwest flight from Phoenix to, to Burbank. And no, it was to Orange County. and a person came up and said, look, I'm a Democrat, but I'm going to vote for you. And I believe that if you talk to people about what you honestly and fundamentally believe, that you'll get the kind of support you need.
What's the most important lesson you learned 4 years ago in your unsuccessful bid to win the Republican nomination that you're applying now in this current campaign?
Well, you know, last time I spent a lot of time answering all the questions on all the topics that came up, and you frankly have no choice but to respond to the questions that come along. But you want to make sure that your message gets through and that you communicate why it is you're running day in and day out. You want to be known for something. And in my case, I spent my life in the private sector for 25 years. I understand how this economy works at the fundamental level. I haven't just watched jobs get created. I've created jobs. That's a message I want to get through. I didn't get that through as well last time as I should have. This time I'm going to try and do a better job making sure in every effort that I have meeting with people, they know that I'm the guy who knows something about the economy and I can get America strong and get jobs created again.
Good luck, Governor. We'll stay in close touch.
Thanks, Wolf. Good to be with you.
We'll take a quick break. More of our coverage here in the Situation Room when we come back.